Let's get ourselves ready for this. It's F1 22. It is round 21 of 22. We are in the... not the dying stages, but we are in the... we're in the glory era. I don't know. What would you call it? It's the penultimate race weekend. We've got this and one more, and then the F1 22 experiment is complete. So Brazil, our last sprint race. So we'll have two races really, 1.5 maybe, depending how you want to classify it. But that's coming up. Last week, we had an okay one. It was a podium finish. It was tricky, but it was good fun. I think we've got some component stuff to manage. We'll get onto that in a minute. But I think our races are now unimpinged by further penalties. So manage our components for practice. Throw it all out in the races. Maybe today, maybe next week, we can bag another win. That'd be great. But it's 5th in the championship we want to be holding out for. This is how things look at the moment. Lando Norris had a pretty rough weekend last time out, and I had a good one. So, while I wouldn't say I'm entirely clear of the challenge of Lando Norris quite yet, I am feeling more secure in holding on to that 5th place in the drivers' standings at this point in the season. Hopefully, a good weekend this weekend will secure that nicely. First things first, though, we'll need to get to team headquarters, and there will be a Pirelli Hot Lap to do as well. Make yourself comfortable, folks. McLadster, welcome on in, by the way. I saw your earlier comment about the Stream Champ being a classist invention of the punctual. It's also very Eurocentric as well, isn't it? Like all good things. Just asked him there. No, I didn't. It's fine. I love all my great community family equally. Even McLadster. Even. Hope all of my pals from wherever they are in the world are having a smashing weekend. This then... yeah, so there we go. Look, there's a nice message from McLadster. If Steve can love McLadster, he can love anyone. But can he ever love himself? So here we are in Team HQ. We did a little bit of R&D stuff, basically to secure chassis upgrades for next season. That's kind of all we can do now. But let's advance time.
Completed without issue. They'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
So we had some successful upgrades. What were they? I think there were there two? Were there two? The front wing gurney flap. Yes. What else? Was that it? Maybe it was. I thought there were two. Anyways, a little bit of extra performance there in the car for the last two races, which is nice. But the marketing department, the department of the matching haircuts, needs me to pay attention to something. So let's do that. What do we got? No profit from the t-shirts. So there you remember this. This was for you Americans, in fact. At the Circuit of the Americas, there was an offer. What kind of merchandise should we sell specifically to the American market at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas? And I said, why they love a t-shirt. It'd still be warm there. But the other option was like a wet weather jacket. Joke's on me, of course. There was half a practice session where it rained. Uh-oh. So no profit from the t-shirts. A terrible idea from me, but there you go. I feel mildly chastised by my fan base. Okay, weekly resources. Get that all tucked in. And another event. Goodness me, it's busy at this time of the year, isn't it? It's the aerodynamics department. This department has requested your attendance at today's meeting. What is the problem?
Could you take a look at this for us, please?
Okay, I guess I will. Support the charity or honour commitments. A charity has asked if you would be happy to patronise their cause by becoming the face of their latest campaign. Unfortunately, this would mean you missing Aerodynamics Department's team-building events that we had planned. Oh, no! What do I decide? Two options here. It's important for us to be seen supporting these types of events. The Aerodynamics Department will understand. It will affect morale, but screw them, because I'm not driving at the end of the season. And also, the front wing gurney flap was successfully completed, so I can screw them over now, and it won't affect the upgrades. Or apologise to the charity. I need to keep my current commitments to the team. Story line commitment here, because a little bit earlier in the season, there was a moment. What's the best thing to do here? And I said charity, right? Because the other options were like a social media thing or a marketing thing or whatever, I don't know. And I said, if you do the charity, that has a knock-on effect. I think it's important, right? I'm going to accept this invitation, and I will have to marginally disappoint the Aero team.
Thanks for stepping in and helping handle that.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, so we've taken care of that.
You're not currently in a rivalry. Sooner or later, you'll probably be asked by the media who you consider to be your rival.
Oh my
Think carefully
goodness!
who you select, as while you will receive a claim for beating them, you'll lose a claim if you fail to do so.
I got a phone call from my manager, still with no face, by the way, who previously has sent me incredibly curt, short, boilerplate emails. Actually spoke to me in person there. I do not expect there will be any concerns about rivalries for the rest of the season. We don't have to worry about that. What we do have to worry about is whether I go for average speed or drift. I've had it with drift. It's like 3 minutes to do drift, and it takes me at least a minute and a half to remember how to make it work. So I'm going to say average speed zone. Average speed zone in the Aston Martin DB11 version 12. The final _ this one _ final. Yes, average speed zone, let's go. Let's just get this. Always two presses. I don't know why. Always two presses. Fix that next time, will you, codemasters? Get on that. Meow. Right, here we go. Oh no, it's raining. It do be rain here sometimes. Meow. This would have been fun trying to drift in these conditions. Right. I'll be on this in a moment. So 3 rounds take on a challenging section of the circuit in which the average speed is measured. The best speed over 3 attempts is the final result. But be careful not to leave the circuit, as that will invalidate the round. And I'll probably make that mistake in the first round. We get a lovely medal, and we get driver acclaim points. I am incredibly close to moving up to the next level, so I think regardless of the outcome here, I will probably move up 1 in driver acclaim. Here then are our options, right? 55 miles an hour is bronze, 60 miles an hour is silver, 64 miles an hour and above, gold. Now, we're not in a particularly fast part of this course. On this circuit, we have gone past 2 straights, and now we're kind of in the winding infield. So it will be kind of challenging to keep the speed up, but I will give it my best shot. And also, I would like to try and get this done in 1, because there's a lot to do this evening. So silver is the target. Gold would be great. Let's see how we do. Come on. Those slippery conditions are really quite noticeable in this. 64 miles an hour is the target. Eat it! That's gold. Done in 1. So now it's just for fun. That was good. I did a good job of keeping that minimum speed up. I do love this track though. There we go, that's not too bad, is it? Off the track, off the track. Off the track. Still above it. This is good stuff. And the final one. Let's see if I can get a nice, probably a little too deep into that corner. We'll lose some speed there. I was hoping that maybe I could keep that minimum speed up and really gun it, but it's quite a tight corner coming up here, so maybe not. Gold each time. It's just over 64 though each time, wasn't it? Anyway, gold. Yes, 1,000 points. Great. I got slower each time. Hooray! That's what you get for overdriving and pushing harder. You actually slow down. The first one, where I wasn't going mental, was 1.01 miles per hour above target. Yes! Thanks, Miradave. Thank you very much. Done in one, indeed. Race weekend. We had a little bit of rain there in the Pirelli Hot Lap. Does that give us an indication of changeable conditions that we could be facing through this weekend? Could we be having maybe a wet practice session or a wet qualifying? Could the whole race weekend be a washout? Let's find out. Hold me, I'm scared. Okay, here we go. The sprint race is going to be wet. 12 laps of racing in the rain. Everything else is dry, though. Practice 1, qualifying. Practice 2, lovely, gorgeous. Sprint race, a washout. The race itself, lovely again. That's going to be really interesting to see how that pans out. Okay, messages, and there's loads. There's loads here. So development's completed. The front wing gurney flap was genuine. I think the others were more about protecting upgrades. I'm waiting for the random Tommy. Where is it? Tommy, where are you?
It's not over. Everybody.
Oh, jeez. No, there are two of them. No. Why are you doing that? Tommy! I swear to God, almost every time now. Every time. I switch the setup on and I'm just like, okay, it's time to stream. There's a flipping update to Touch Portal. And there's always something weird that happens. Every flipping time. Qualifying, dry. Sprint, wet, getting wetter, right, as the race goes on. The race itself, overcast, but dry. And here's the latest development update from Francisco. So, it was very close between Red Bull, Ferrari and Mercedes around rounds 16 to 18. Even round 19, pretty close. But it's split out a little bit there, hasn't it? As we blast through Mexico to Brazil, Ferrari and Red Bull are incredibly close to each other, with Mercedes just a drop back. But clear blue sea behind Mercedes. McLaren haven't shown any improvements in their performance, so in that battle against Lando Norris, that kind of helps me out a little bit. Alright, so there are those are the wonderful messages. We have an interesting situation here. No rivalry, by the way. where in terms of managing components, it's really difficult because we need to be on it throughout. Need to be on it in practice because there's going to be a certain amount of single lap high-speed practice. Then there's qualifying. Need to be on it for that. Practice 2. Do you know what? I can't. You must be able. You can't have a parc ferme from the end of practice 1, surely. Like in practice 2, you should be able to swap stuff out. I feel like this is a weekend where I can't swap stuff out. 46% wear on the ICE. 44 MGUK. 46 MGUH. Energy store 12. Turbocharger. It's okay. 48. Control electronics 26. And yeah. 11 on the gearbox. Could race with the old gearbox, but might as well just use the new one, right? I'm not going to touch a thing. We're going to go out there with our best throughout. So practice 1, partly acclimatization, I think, but not too much. But there will be a bit of kind of single lap qualifying kind of pace stuff in this one. So the pressure's on in practice 1 to understand the track and be really fast at it. What do we got in terms of development boosts? Nothing that really helps tell the story of this season, so I won't worry about those too much. But we have race strategy, track acclimatization, and tyre management. So I'd say track acclimatization is crucial for this one. Then I'll need to go off book for a bit of single lap practice, and then tyre management and race strategy will have to hold back until practice 2. Up. It's my teammate's car. I pissed in it.
The session has drawn to a close, so let's review our top 3. Gibb, Hamilton and Carlos Sainz. Sadly, it's time to say goodbye as free practice is over. However, we'll be back shortly for more Formula One action.
Fastest in practice 1. I thank you. A little bit of toying around with the aero setup to find a balance that I was comfortable with has meant that I sacrifice a little bit of Sector 1 performance, but I make it back considerably in Sector 2. And I'm sort of on par with the other fast drivers in Sector 3. That's the gamble. That's the setup that's being taken forward. Could the Mercedes run away this weekend? It's possible. Skip and Lewis Hamilton, the 2 fastest drivers. Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari, not that far behind though, just a tenth and a half. Max Verstappen clearly on a different kind of a practice program there. On the hard tyres, much further down the stack, 12th fastest. Carlos Sainz on the mediums, 6th fastest. Interesting set of affairs. A sprint weekend puts a lot of pressure, a lot of focus on making the most of practice one. I think we're there. Qualifying is coming up, bam, like that. So everything that we do here really counts, and then we can focus on the race after that. A good, useful practice one though. Lots to build on, I think. Come on. There we go. Good luck this session. We're all expecting a good result. Your manager, bleep bloop. And the weekend preview from Chief Engineer Mark. I'm not sure there's a single corner on this circuit that doesn't have some kind of a quirk to it. I guess the most important spot to bear in mind is turn 2, the exit of the Senna S. Ideally you want a slightly late apex here so you can keep the throttle planted all the way around turn 3. And with the increased downforce towards the end of practice 1, that's exactly what I was getting. But if you get the transition from 1 to 2 wrong, you'll end up on the curb having to lift. Again, the wrong kind of aero, maybe not enough, helping to keep those tyres pushed down to the ground. And that transition from 1 to 2, with the turning, that car wants to do a spin. I think we've managed to hit that on the head, so hopefully we're okay. That's it. We know that we've got all the newest, latest and greatest components on the powertrain. We're not fiddling around with any of that, so we can get straight into qualifying. Let's go. That's me. Yes, man. I put on some weight. Quite a strut, actually, on the way to the to the scales there. Going, oh, I don't give a shit. I've had a beef and ale pie, and I'm proud. Okay, it's qualifying. Let's get the prediction going, shall we? Hey, woo! Those of you who are half asleep, who are like, practice, boring. It's time to bet. It's time to bet. I've even got my bet button working properly now, with the announcement and everything. So, Brazil. Where will I qualify? Now, I've used the same brackets for the last few. I will do the same again. I will do the same again. Bet big. You have 2 minutes on the qualifying prediction. It starts now. Ooh. Pole. Positions 2 to 6. Positions 7 to 10. Positions 11 to 20. Just the same. As we've been doing for the last few races. I think that's wise. I think we either talk about, do I get pole position? Do I get something else in the top 6, right, amongst the Red Bulls and Ferraris? Something in the top 10, something in the bottom 10. That kind of makes sense. Just under a minute and a half to go. Please place your bets. Spend your engagements. Good gamba opportunities coming your way. The way that this works in a sprint weekend, slightly different, okay? So, the qualifying session sets my position for the sprint race. The result of the sprint race will set my grid position for the Grand Prix. So bear that in, don't bear that in mind for your gamble, but bear that in mind for the impact that this might have later on down the way. Knowing that there's going to be a wet sprint race coming up, wouldn't you think that being closer to the front would be even more crucial? Because either you want to protect that top position or near top position in unfavourable conditions, so you still have a good spot for the race, or if things in the sprint don't go too well and you lose a few positions, you've lost it from somewhere nice and high. So extra risk to think about for the whole weekend, but we have dry, wonderful conditions for qualifying here, so we shouldn't have to worry about that. We have a 50-50 split between pole and somewhere else in the top 6. I think that's quite wise. It's likely to be one of those two. But where will it be? Qualifying rules continue to apply, of course, where there will be no flashbacks. If, however, I make a horrific mistake, I will restart the entire lap. So the goal here is to do one complete clean lap. Fresh set of soft tyres, everything turned up to 11, barely any fuel in the tank, the lightest possible weight this car will be all weekend. It was, in practice 1, a 1 minute 10. We'll probably go faster than that in this session. Let's see how we do. Let's go to track. A bit messy. Not a good start, to be honest. Missing apexes. That's a bad lap. Didn't make the gains. And it will be... Ooh. Oh no.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Leclerc, Verstappen and Carlos Sainz. Goodbye for now then, but we are really just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Mistakes were made. A couple of, well, I mean, the lap didn't start too well. I think turns 1 and 2 were a little sloppy. That set the precedent. If you open your lap rough, it's hard to make up for it. Gambles also were lost. We had 50% of the... I know. 50% of the wager on pole, 50% on the wager on positions 2 to 6, unfortunately. Qualifying in 9th place is neither of those. We are all losers here. Gillifam, a Merry Dave, great apologies. Had someone put some engagements down on positions 7 to 10, they'd be rolling in it right now. However, some consolation. Still faster than the practice time. So there is that. But a lot was still left on the table. Now, don't forget, the kind of setup we have here will hopefully, fingers crossed, favour us more later. I think the important thing is to look at where Lewis is. That's an indication of where I could have been, right? Let's take a look at what you could have won in true bullseye style. There was potentially 4, maybe even 4 or 5 tenths left out there that I could have found, which would have put me, I mean, pole position would have been tricky. I would have had to have been 1.1 seconds faster than in practice 1. As it was, I was half a second faster. If I was 8 tenths faster, I would have been up closer to where Lewis is. Not terrible. And again, if you look at the pace behind, there's quite a big gap. It's a shame not to be higher than the McLarens. I'm very close to them. That makes things tricky in the sprint. We'll need to be aggressive in that sprint race in wet conditions to try and climb back up the order, to give myself a good opportunity for a good race start. However, even then, all is not lost. If I could finish the sprint race where I am now, 8th, maybe 7th, that's still a great place to start in the Grand Prix itself. Good opportunities to move forward. So, not the world's best qualifying, in the top 10. It's better than nothing. We've got practice 2, we've got strategy stuff to figure out, and then we'll see how it pays out in the race. But we'll have to move on from there.
God, forgive me.
Okay, slightly disappointing, but we move on. Practice 2. Nothing else really for us to review here, right? The car is the car. Everything in the green. 50% engine, 49 MGU-K, 50 MGU-H, 52 on the turbo. Gearbox is fine. Alright, practice 2. Tyre management and race strategy. That'll be our focus. Some development points for tyre management, really. Probably not much else I really have to worry about there. Could be instructive, to be fair. Could be instructive on how kind I'm being to the tyres on the circuit, so let's not underplay the value of that. But the race strategy practice program will be the one. Bonus me.
It's time to remind ourselves of our top 3, who are Gip, Verstappen and Lando Norris. And that's it. Practice is officially over.
That's it.
Till next time, goodbye.
Race strategy practice program done. Tyre management program also done. Tyre management was average. Didn't quite hit low, which was maybe slightly disappointing, but there's still the opportunity, I think, to slightly extend tyre life. But across tyre management and the race strategy practice program, lots more laps, feeling comfortable on the circuit. The car feels good, as good as it will be, I think. And the race strategy practice itself seemed good. Comfortably faster than Delta, while still being efficient on fuel and taking less out of the tyres than the team were expecting. Maybe not loads less / loads fewer, but enough to not be a burden on the strategists, and giving ourselves a little bit of wiggle room for the races to come. That then is practice taken care of. Only 2 practice sessions there, both done. We have the sprint race and the main race to come. So the serious stuff starts now, I guess. My teammate ever so slightly better on the resource points, but we did a good job. Here are the boosts. Lots of juicy discounts. Ooh, look at that. All good stuff for next season, not really for this one. What can you do? To the sprint. But it's raining, though. To the messages. Have a good one. I'm sure you'll do fine. There's only one thing that matters in this world: beating your teammate. Beat him by a minute and there's a cookie. That's it. Just one cookie. Not a pack of cookies. If it's one cookie, is it a very big cookie? We don't know. We don't know. Is it the case of I beat him by a minute and I come back and I go and speak to my engineer, and in front of him is a banner that says, "Do you accept all cookies?" And I have to click it, and that's what he's talking about. And I can't actually talk to him. He's donor walled or something. I don't actually get to talk to him until I've accepted those cookies. European Union! To be fair, it's frustrating as it is, and how meaningless the solution to it has been. Their heart was in the right place. "12 laps, it'll be over quick, although because it's wet, the lap times will be slower, so it'll be over quick, but slightly less quick than we were usually expecting the quick to be. Sprint race coming up." Hello?
Well, the weather is not looking good today. We are expecting the downpours to continue into today's sprint. This will make for some tricky conditions for all the teams.
Nothing else to say, you know. Here's the map. There are the corner numbers. Oh, look, 15 of them. It goes up and it goes down, as well as left and right.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint.
I helped.
Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who will start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Hamilton, Sergio Perez, and Fernando Alonso. Norris, Ricciardo, Gip, and Pierre Gasly.
Woofed.
Magnussen, Ocon, Mick Schumacher, and Joe, Tsunoda, Stroll, Alex Albon, and Valtteri Bottas, Vettel, and Nicholas Latifi. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
Well, it's not crazy wet. Could this be intermediate conditions? It's the sprint race. The strategy is this: no pit stops. Yeah, intermediates. Intermediate tyres, they'll more than carry us through. What's interesting though about this, it's wet throughout. It looks like a medium-ish drizzle. Towards the end of the race, it gets wetter. And the performance of the intermediate tyres are such that they don't degrade anywhere near as much. But it'll be interesting to see whether enough of the tyre has worn away that when the track starts to get a little bit damper, and you might see a bit of standing water, can those intermediates clear that enough? Or could we find ourselves in the last 2 or 3 laps of the sprint struggling a little bit for grip? Don't really know, but you'd be an idiot if you did a pit stop in this race. So we know that our default strategy is the one. Let's please not make a pit stop. Everyone should be on inters. No one's planning to make a stop. So from 9th, what can happen here? Will it just be everybody holding position for 12 laps in a very boring, uninspired sprint? Or can there be some changes in position? Take that into consideration. Woo, wake up, it's time to bet. 5 minutes. I'm going to take a little break, you see. 12 laps of the sprint race here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And we are having to consider what will happen to Skip from 9th. You have 5 minutes. Here are your slots. This unpredictable. How will these cars perform? How will my setup perform in intermediate tyre conditions? In kind of not crazy wet, but you know, it's sopping. It's been raining a little. From 9th, can it be a podium finish? Can it be an improvement on P9? Let's say positions 4 to 7. Can it be around P9? Let's say positions 8 to 11. Or will it be an absolute horror and Skip will drop back significantly somewhere 12 or even further back? You've got just over 4 minutes. Just over 4 minutes there to make your bets. It's up to you how bold you want to be. Obviously, the qualifying bet did not pay out particularly well for anybody involved. So take that into consideration. Maybe split your bets if you're feeling a little bit brave or you haven't bet before. put a little bit on something crazy wild. You never know what happens. I'm going to take an early pee break here. Take advantage of that extra time. And I'll leave you with a bet. There's just over 3.5 minutes to go. And when we come back, 12 laps in not great weather. The sprint race in Brazil. Stay with. Right. I've been to the loo. I've had another swig of chocolate milk. I'm as ready as I'll ever be for this here sprint race. I think predictions close now. Yes. Yes, it is. We've had a few bettors, a few gamblers. Let's see how that has been split out. 16% of the wager on a podium finish, 42% of the wager on positions 4 to 7, so an improvement from a P9 start, and 42% of the wager on positions 8 to 11, so more or less where I am now. But a possibility that I lose places. It'll all mean that a solid start is crucial here. Crucial. As is getting myself in race position. And feeling comfy about it. And no mistake. Yes. Okay. Standard chat checking rules apply, of course, in race conditions. I'll do what I can when I can, but my focus must be on the circuit. And considering I'm starting from P9, there is a lot of traffic to keep an eye out on as well. Okay then, formation lap, and then 12 laps of the sprint in the wet, dreary, British-looking conditions. Let's go.
Launch map is good, but we need to learn the gears, so go into each one when you can. We're going to need some work on the brakes, so put some energy into them and warm the tyres as well, please.
It's a very wet-looking circuit. Tyres are at temperature, so that's okay. Just need to get myself comfy, get these corners sighted.
Light rain will stay with us for at least 20 minutes, maybe more. Light rain is here to stay.
And that's all the weather. It'll be difficult to learn all the gears. There'll be a lot of spray. As we pull away. I need a proper focused start. ERS use will be interesting. Really will not want to apply it through any turns. You have to wait until you hit a straight. At least until you feel confident enough that the grip is there, the traction is there. Here we go then. Alright, you two, you never moved.
I've got information on Albon for you. Right, they've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring.
I did a good parking. That rarely happens. Yay! Hopefully we don't have to wait as long as we did this time last week when Norris was out of position. Albon already retired. I hope this doesn't take too long.
Superb parking there, mate. Let's
Thank
make sure we
you.
get the edge on the surrounding drivers as the lights go out.
Well, I hope so.
Okay, so that's the rest of the grid forming up now. Be patient and watch for those lights.
Yep. It's taking a bit longer than we'd like. We saw the ghost of Albon's car and Vettel's car still on the grid, so... And just that red line there seems to suggest that someone's out of position. So this could be a long wait here while computer things happen. Which is very strange, isn't it? Doot-dee-doot-dee-doo. So, everyone had a nice weekend? What'd you get up to, huh? You go anywhere exciting? We know Lima did a lot of cooking, a lot of baking, 6 hours of it. I did Mother's Day yesterday, out with my sister and my mum. All day, in fact. It was a very long day. Had a very nice lunch. Went to a couple of garden centres, yes. Looked at plants. I bought myself a nice bottle of cherry wine. Here we go, here we go. Okay, car's under control. A lot of bumping. And a lot of spinning! It's a shame, because that was a good start. Alright, let's have another go at that, shall we? Oh, slow. Slow and shocking.
Sprints are a shorter race session.
Shut up, Ant. I want you to stop. Slow reaction time again. Oh, God. My first start was good, and then I've been caught unawares ever since. Okay, here we go. Let's make it count. Okay, now we have a race. Let's go. There'll be no DRS in these conditions. So this has to be done on pure pace. Really having to get a feel for what this car feels like in these conditions under extreme pressure. I've already lost a position. I need to make the most of these opening laps while these cars are close to each other, right? Is that Alonso behind? No, it's Ocon. He's going to go for the inside here, but he's having to defend. No DRS, remember, so... But my God, I need to close that gap. This is not good. Yeah, rear grip is tricky. To rely on ERS quite a bit here. Already a second behind the McLaren of Daniel Ricciardo. Takes a long time to get to full power.
Bottas, they seem to have an issue.
An issue. Not much time to try and close that gap, or even to overtake and make a position or two. I need to get at least back to 9th here. Can't lose out. Full race update.
P10, you're currently in P10. It's Ricciardo ahead of you. Okay, gap ahead is 1.3 seconds. They're on a fresh set of inters. Ocon's behind you. They're on a fresh set of inters.
We all are, mate.
Gap to leader, 7.7 seconds.
Yowza.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. Okay, we're into the last 10 laps now.
Closing the gap, though.
Okay, so this light rain is going to be with us for a while now. You're increasing the gap on the car behind by 0.5 a lap.
That's what I want to hear. Let's freaking go. It is time to start taking some of these cars. We're going to have to be clever about where we do it. Goodness me. I don't fancy doing it on braking into turn 1. Somewhere in the infield where it's more likely to happen. That gap does extend though. Can't let the accordion effect make us feel like, yeah, we've got a shot when we don't. I've got something on braking that the rest of them don't, though. I really need to be careful with that front wing of mine. It's taken a few little dinks. It may have affected performance already, we don't know.
Gap to your teammate ahead is 8.0 seconds.
Hitting him again. That was a little rude, but the original position has been reclaimed. It's unfortunate that things were so rough on the original start because I was a lot more in the tussle. That's awful. I can't let that one stand, surely. Yeah, that initial tussle, I was a lot more in the thick of it. And there was a possibility of maybe being able to make up some more spaces in all the melee and the confusion. Whereas here, we're having to do it very much the hard way. By chasing them down and getting the elbows out. Norris with his eyes on Pierre Gasly ahead. It would be delightful if I could get past him. Fastest sector 2. You can't make a mistake like that, though. Can you skip? No, you can't. Now, the car setup, if it does favour a performant sector 2, I can put the pressure on. He's done it again. It's all on that curb there, isn't it? It's all on that curb. Well, that was rude.
Okay, good work. Great pass.
He's got more speed. I'll need to hold the inside here. So P8. Yeah, Gasly next. We have to watch out for Norris behind. He's close enough. The hope is here, though, that in the infield I have better grip than he does. And I'll be able to make a bit of space. Let's find out. Gasly next. Come on, let's get him. The sprint is almost over. It's lap 7 of 12. Go. Made a nice gap to Norris already. Let's see if we can get Gasly before this race is done. Bit of a sloppy turn 2 and 3. That's allowed Norris to close up and Gasly to extend. Chomp through that battery. Every tool in the arsenal here.
I've got information on Stroll.
Stroll's out.
It looks like the problem's terminal. They're retiring the car.
Got it together. We're closer to Pierre. I don't think we'll get him on turn 1.
Okay, the forecast suggests this rain's going to keep getting stronger for at least the next 15 minutes.
It definitely looks heavier. .7 seconds to Gasly. Let's see if we can make him a little spooked and scared in the infield. Lap 9 of 12. He's slowing. It's wetter. It's definitely wetter. That proves it. So these last few laps is last few laps are oh fudge. Are going to be a battle more against the conditions than maybe against the other cars on the track. It definitely looks like it's raining harder. This circuit is a lot wetter. All I can hope is that I can stay close to Gasly and take advantage of any errors that he might make and not make too many myself. Full race update.
That's 8th place. You're in 8th place. That's Gasly
Norris is
ahead.
catching.
Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on old intermediates. Norris is behind you. Less than a second separates you. They're on old intermediates. Our gap to first place is 13.0 seconds. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. Come on, just 3 laps to go. 3 laps.
This is tense.
Okay, we've got 4 laps of fuel remaining.
Oh. Okay. All right then. But look. Right, there we go.
Nice work, mate. That brings you up a place.
That's what we were after. He's on his way back here. He's fast, damn it. Where did that speed come from? Too deep. Way too deep. To worry about Norris. Gotta hold on to 8. I will fight dirty. I need everything I can get here. We had a not great qualifying. It's going to be difficult here to take him. We're within a second.
Okay, this is your
Last
final
lap.
lap. Final lap of the race.
He's struggling to hold on to his rears. Norris is closing.
We've only got 2
Having a
laps.
look on the inside there. Hold on, hold on. A little deep into that that turn means I'm not going to get Gasly. Not going to be able to do much, to be fair. Oh, Jesus. This is on braking here, so I shouldn't pick it up on braking. I'll have to let that screw up happen and come out of here. Hold the inside, and that should be 8th.
All right, race over. Take care of the car.
Okay, 8th. Yikes. Tough day at the office.
So let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. Charles Leclerc, currently leading the championship standings, extends his lead even further with this result. So then, Ferrari have now moved out of sight and out of reach. It's another triumph for the Italian team as they claim the World Constructors' Championship.
I thought they did that last
The grid
week.
is set then, so that just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow, where we'll be live with all the action. And until then, goodbye.
Ugh. Okay. A few attempts at the start. The first one was actually the best start, but my my turn 2 was awful. There may have been contact as well, which would have made that worse. Had I got through turns 1 and 2 nice and clean from that first start, I think we could be having a discussion about how I did a good job of overtaking a couple of cars and maybe doing a bit of defending, and I finished maybe 6th, maybe 5th. As it is, I dropped back to 10th. And at the very least, needed to get back up to 9th just to be back where I started. A couple of crucial things about finishing 8th, though. As you can see, I get a point 1 World Drivers' Championship point for finishing 8th. At least means I have something to take away with me from finishing that far down the stack. It also means I took it away from Lando Norris. And you know how important that is, because I'm trying to hold him behind me in the driver's standings. So me having 1 point and him having none is as good as a win. Charles Leclerc finishes first. Lewis Hamilton, my teammate, made good and takes 7 championship points. Max Verstappen does pretty well. A 1:18.5 was my fastest possible lap. That was difficult. It's harder to do when you're fighting traffic though, right? Those cars further ahead probably had that, but the gaps are interesting actually. Pierre Gasly may be arguably out of position. He was one of the slower cars and was probably holding up the 2 McLarens and any car behind them. So the opportunity to get past Gasly in the later stages of the races would have been quite difficult. But furthermore, if you did get past Gasly, if I got past Gasly, maybe the best I could have hoped for was 7th, because the gap between Pierre Gasly and Sergio Perez and the rest of the pack 6-7 seconds. You couldn't make that up. You couldn't make that up in a sprint condition, especially in the wet. So maybe the way the race played out is maybe the best I could have hoped for. Was 7th today. However, a P8, good for points, but also good for the prediction because with the split votes there as well, there may be some people losing, but there is a winner, and they get to take all of the engagements for themselves. Your winning outcome then, positions 8 to 11. Amiradave, congratulations, 6,200 engagements. Think of the ad breaks. They've all come your way. Giddy Fam, Hope Springs Eternal, was hoping for a podium finish. Rich T. Roo, today's stream champ, voted for positions 4 to 7.
What?
It got close, didn't it? It could have been Rich T. Roo's points had I been able to get past Pierre Gasly. Sadly, couldn't quite make that happen in the last few laps. So it's a P8 finish, and Amiradave wins the engagement. Let's have a quick look then at the highlights of the sprint. Some sloppy starts.
Come on, if you have any problems, talk to me and I will help you.
Thanks. Nice slow-mo, bro. Bump. Lots of contact early on with the McLarens. There's some more. In fact, I argue at this point already there's probably damage. Superficial damage, perhaps. There it is. There it is. So, already, folks, we've barely got through turns 1 and 2, and there is that's slightly more than superficial damage, but there is damage to the front of the car, which will affect aerodynamic performance. So I was having to contend with a little bit... for the record, by the way, this wouldn't happen. On a real F1 car, this particular kind of damage wouldn't happen. Especially the nose cone. That does not happen. But that gives you an idea that the aerodynamic performance of the front wing was already affected, and we've got 2 corners into this race. How are the rears of these Maccas? Well, they look fine. Typical. Now watch this drive. So, bear that in mind, right? I am not at 100%. 99.5% maybe. Lap 5. This is Daniel Ricciardo. There we go. Got very rude with Ricciardo. And now hunting down Norris. So on lap 6, a very deep push in, and I basically nudge him right off. Bullied indeed. It was almost almost a P7 finish. There was a point either on lap 9 or 10 where I managed to actually get past Gasly. Is this the moment? No, I'm defending against Norris right now. Here we go, infield. Closing in on Gasly. This was the moment. A brief sniff, inhalation of P7. But he managed to get me on the run to turn 1. Defending like a lion against Lando Norris on lap 11. And a very photo finish, I'd say. A photo finish. Let's go back and check. Where's that checkered flag? There it is. About there. Should we say there? Norris got close, but how close? There's your checkered flag. There he is. There's Charlie Checkered. Charlie Checkered. Charlie Checkered. He's waving his low poly flag. There's your finish line. In fact, hang on. Wait. He's waving his flag there. We've got... Mate, it's there.
What?
I know. It's here. This is it. Poor planning. Anyways, what are we looking at? Assuming that this is exactly the same as we would have seen at that line there. Not much of a gap between the two of us there. So it was close. It was pretty close. Oh, is that a bit of damage? Is that a bit of damage? It is. Bit of rough and tumble there. Can we go and see Ricardo? No, he was all right actually. He survived. But no one gets out of a battle with Skip alive, do they? A bit of the old superficial damage to the nose and a little bit of the front wing there. But yeah, there you go. Very, very close between the two of them. There you go, that's that. One point. I'll take it. So far this weekend, Skip has 1 point, Lando Norris has none. Sergio Perez, who's ahead of me in the championship, I believe, 3 points. So a 2 point difference. But the race is to come. The weather is better. The car setup should be good. I have a fresh front wing. Hopefully I'll keep that damage free. I'll be starting from P8. 1 position better than I qualified. I'll take it. But we need the race to deliver. Okay, come on, back to the workstation. Not gloating, but grateful. A merry Dave there. 6,200 engagements. What a joy. What a joy. Okay, race day. The strategy for this race is just like any other. Nail the start, lead out of turn 1, win by miles. I mean, from 8th. Failing that, keep your wits about you and everything will be just fine. I believe we have the pace for a good result here. So we're going to put the ERS up for the start. Get a good launch and take it one corner at a time. Good luck and see you at that there checkered flag that they have there. 55% wear on the engine. 53 MGUK, 56 MGUH, 18 energy store. 57 turbocharger, 27 on control electronics, and the gearbox is dandy. "36 laps of the Brazilian Grand Prix coming up. Another opportunity for everybody to gamble. That was a pretty stressful sprint race. I'm sure the race itself will be a little stressful, but I am looking forward to it. Being able to race around in the drier, less slippy conditions. Let's go. Let's go. Boomer!
Formula One returns to Interlagos once again with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his third championship here in 2012, and in 2016, Max Verstappen treated us all to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. We're racing then at Interlagos, a historic 2.7-mile circuit and one of the few anti-clockwise tracks on the calendar. 15 corners in total, 9 to the left and 6 to the right, with a technical middle section opening up to a flat-out Sector 3 that gives us our best passing opportunity down into Turn 1. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race.
Skip watch.
Fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Max Verstappen lines up alongside.
Oh, where did Lewis go?
The rest of today's grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Perez, Dip, and Ricciardo.
Ooh, starting from 5th.
They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty.
Oh, folks.
Mick Schumacher, Joe, and Valtteri Bottas. Ocon, Hamilton. They've taken a grid penalty.
Ho, ho, ho.
Nicholas Latifi and Vettel. Sainz, Norris. They'll be starting further back.
No, look at this.
Kevin Magnussen and Yuki Tsunoda.
They're all taking them.
Albon. And Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. It's almost time for the lights to go out. So let's head down to the track where preparations are underway.
Poggers, my dudes.
Once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you here with us today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into Turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
So the last few races for Skip have been punctuated by having to take grid penalties for replacing various components on the car. And on occasion, people in chat have looked upon that as if it's a bit weird. Like, hang about. Why are you having to do that so much? Is it because you're bad? Is it because the car is bad? Did you see the amount of drivers who had to take a grid penalty today? Pretty much half the pack. I don't think it mentions it here, sadly. Lewis Hamilton, second in the race, now starting 12th. Apparently Gasly had a penalty as well. Yes, he dropped back, of course. He would have been ahead of me. So Gasly's another driver that would have been ahead of me, but he's taken a penalty. God, the FIA would have been burning through paper, issuing all of the adjustments. So yeah, Gasly's dropped back. Ocon dropped back, Hamilton dropped back, Vettel dropped back. Lando Norris, who was behind me, by the way, also dropped. At least half of the grid here have taken penalties. So that 9th qualifying position, that 8th sprint race position, yet having guaranteed all of my penalties for the rest of the season have now hopefully all been dealt with. So this race and the final race are trouble-free, fingers crossed. Has all of a sudden become a gift, because not only do I not have to take any penalties, but every other mug seems to still be taking them, and now I'm starting 5th. Now, you could argue, well, Steve, if you qualified better and you had a better sprint race, you could be right up the front. Do you know what? I'll take 5th. We could get a podium from here, right? Let's dare to dream. That is a much better place to start than P9 in the sprint. Like, I can actually see beyond the cars. There should be a slightly easier run through the first few turns. But what about that race strategy? Now, you'll notice when we looked at Race Director, every single car is starting on the medium. Now, why is that? The people up the front are racing for position. The people who are further back, who have taken their penalties, want to make as many positions as possible. The best tyre to do that on is the medium. Now, strategies. A 1-stop or a 2-stop, but it all comes down to the shape they take. The conservative strategy is the default strategy, and the one that we can expect many of the cars around us will take. Start on the mediums, finish on the hards. We've seen this a lot, and by and large, it's worked out just fine. The alternate strategy, a 2-stopper, start on the fastest tyre and change to the next hardest, and then the next hardest tyre after that. You can see the drop-off in the soft tyre performance. Only 8 laps. And a significant extension of lap time as that tyre gets older. Compared to the hard tyre, where it levels out pretty quickly. So it'll be interesting to see how these change when we look at the personalised strategies. I get the feeling that maybe we're looking at a slightly slower degradation of the tyres, maybe an extension by 1 lap of what we can do on the medium. Let's see. Yeah, pretty much. About 1 second faster overall, but with the projected to personalised shift, we're looking at stopping 1 lap later to change from the medium to the hard. What about the alternate? What happens here? Same. Everything shifts over by 1. You get slightly longer on the softs, the same on the mediums, and slightly less on the hard tyre. Now, a soft tyre does not last very long. And by the end of a soft tyre stint, you're losing a lot of pace. If it were possible, and I don't think it is, if it were possible to start on softs and shift over to the hard tyre, that could be an interesting set of affairs. But you would need to maximise your opening laps on those soft tyres. When they do drop off, there's a risk of losing a lot of time. So say you were to... Let's examine this. I'm curious. If I removed... starting on the soft tyres. Tyres are dead there. You've worn them out. You'd be looking at maybe lap 8, maybe lap 9. Lap 10 was a suggestion here. Even that is slower, right? You lose a lot of time on that soft, and you'll be, by the time you get to lap 8, 9, 10, the speed on those soft tyres drops off, so those around you on the medium tyres are catching back up. I don't see it working. It's an interesting thought experiment. I don't see it working. If you were starting on the softs, there's a dangerous point where you're going to lose out. When you come in, you change onto the hards, you've got a lap or two where those hard tyres are not quite in the window. After that, though, while other cars are making their stops, you do have an opportunity to make some hay. But do you make back any of the potential losses that you made in the last couple of laps on the soft tyres? I don't see it. That's why that conservative strategy just makes more sense. Do what everybody else around you does. You have the opportunity to pit a little bit earlier or extend if you're being gentle to those medium tyres, and then when you come back out, you're on the same tyre as everybody else. You're not disadvantaged by having to take an additional pit stop or by being on a compound of tyre, which means that you're going to lose out considerably to those around you. Let's also factor in the possibility, we had this in the last race, it may or may not happen today. Let's factor in the possibility there could be a safety car still. And that could throw up different things in our strategy. Now, if you did have to react to a safety car, and if the pit strategy changed, you would probably be better to do that from the default strategy than something that's crazy wackadoodle. So again, interesting thought experiment, but it has to be the default strategy. Yes, it's personalised. Yes, it's a second quicker. Yes, we can go a little bit longer on that medium tyre, which means the hard tyre will be fresher towards the end of the race, so we can lean on that. That is our strat. So let's gamble. Starting from 5th. Remember that. Ooh. Five options. 5 minutes. Bet! It's time to bet! Has my chat box died? Hello?
You know what they say, love is blind.
So, something's not showing up here. Let me refresh my stream manager. No, it's not showing up. Outrageous. I'm pressing that. There it is. What time do you call this, you prick? Okay. Whoa, bet! Here's your bet reminder. Okay, 5 options, 5 minutes. Here we go. In the main race, where will I finish? Can it be, from 5th, a win? It's a tall order. It could happen. If not a win, maybe a podium. 2 or 3, right? That's what podium means in this case. Maybe I could have put that in brackets just to make that clearer. Someone might be sitting there going, well, actually, I think you'll find if you win, you aren't on the podium. So positions 2 or 3. Then, a tiny little margin, I don't make it. I don't make it to the podium, but it's positions 4 or 5. Okay, so either I've stayed 5th, made a little improvement, but I haven't dropped. Option 4, positions 6 to 10, and then option 5, a horrific nightmare, and 11 to 20. Okay, another short break. I don't need the toilet this time, but I'll take the break anyway. I will leave you with that bet. Just under 4 minutes to go. If you have never gambled before, and you have some engagements to spare, and you live in a location that actually allows you to do predictions, and not all places do, put a little bit down. 10, 20, 50, 100, just a small amount. You never know. You could win big. I'll leave that with you. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. And the big race will begin. Okay. I got up and I moved around and I sat back down again. That's how I chose to make the most of that. So we're back and it's race time, and let's make sure everything is where it needs to be. My little microphone for the engineer is going to be very important for the full race updates. Maybe some teammate status. You never know. We are ready for the race. Overcast, but dry. And 36 laps with a P5 start. The prediction is almost closed. Let's have a look at how the bets have been going so far. Giddy Fam has put another 1,000 down on a race win. Mary Dave and Rich T. Roo have opted for a podium, positions 2 or 3 in this case. No one has gone for 4 to 5. And Hippie Dave, 74, hello Hippie Dave, welcome on in, hope you're having a good weekend, has just popped a little down, just a cheeky little bit down, on 6 to 10. Now, that's smart gambling. If you lose, you've barely scraped what you have in the bank. But if you win, oof. Big prizes. Big prizes indeed. Right, here we go then, folks. This is it. This is the main event. This is what we're here for. Starting a little bit earlier than the last few weeks, which is good. But these races do be taking some time, though. 36 laps, 3/4 of an hour. Maybe up to an hour, depending how things work out. That's coming up. Formation lap. Hoping for a decent start. And then we're in it. I'll keep a half an eye on chat when I can, but don't forget. Focus is has to be on driving. Let's go.
Okay, so let's go through all the gears if you can. We need to make sure the engagement is okay before the start. We're going to want to put some temperature into the tyres and brakes. We need to keep the engine cool though, so don't go too high with the revs.
So, Perez and Alonso ahead. They're going to be very, very difficult cars to pass. They, like me, will have their elbows out. Ricardo behind as well could be pretty feisty, I think.
Decent parking. Let's try and get a good launch.
Green is fine. Green is fine. Green is
Keep an eye
fine.
on the lights. The start sequence will
I
begin
still
as
have to
soon
do
as
the good
grid is
start
formed.
though, right? Here we
Ready
go.
with the clutch.
36 laps. Let's hope for a good one, folks. From 5th on the grid. Hopefully not a long wait this time. There we go. Clean start, but both the cars behind had a good one too. Hello there. Where am I going? I'll take it. I'll take it. There's a lot we can do from here. Okay. Lost one position, but we're real close. Oh, yes, man. Always going to make a mistake. Close contact with Ricardo.
Okay, we're monitoring.
Do you know what? Actually, let's not do that. I'm worried about what happens to the front wing. If I can keep it clean, that'll be good. Right, here we go. Plenty we can do from this position. Let's go, come on. You can't have big gaps form ahead, right? Have to stay close. DRS will be active from lap 3. So staying close to this pack ahead is critical.
Okay, we're monitoring some wear on the internal combustion engine.
Eat it, eat it!
Start to see a loss of power.
Fifth.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Tussling with Ricciardo, he will have DRS, and I think I've lost it against Alonso, so making up some space in the infield to protect against Ricciardo's DRS is going to be very important. This infield is my secret weapon. Fastest sector 2. No DRS on Alonso yet. Increasing the gap to Ricciardo though.
Okay, the car behind is dropping back. We're seeing a gap starting to form.
Not quite close enough for DRS yet. Right, it's a long old race. Closing as much as I can early on really does make a difference. Still no DRS, but I'm within a second to Alonso, so if I have a clean... And that's going to be difficult. If I have a clean turn... I guess that's a no. Ah! No ERS, it's all gone. DRS? Yes. Okay, I need to lay off the battery for a bit. And take advantage of DRS to try and help close the gap. Within a second to Alonso. Lap 5, P5. Full race update.
That's P5, you're in P5. Alonso's ahead of you. Our gap to the car in front is 1.1 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. That's Ricciardo behind. And the gap behind us is 1.4 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Okay, so gap to the leader is 4.9 seconds. Pit window opens in 12 laps time. 12 laps. Okay, 32 laps to go.
DRS, come on. Let's go. Half a second to Alonso. Overshot, turn 1. Still within 1 second. Let's put the spooks on him. That'll do it. We'll be vulnerable to him on the start-finish straight. Who's next up the road? Sergio Perez. .9 seconds to Sergio. Alonso is half a second behind and closing.
Okay, gap to the car ahead is 2.1 seconds.
.6. And up the hill we go. I don't get any extra points for that. Let's go from here. .65, 1.635. Slowly closing. The gap is slightly larger to Alonso. Let's have a good run through turns 1 and 2. Haven't really increased the gap to Fernando.
I've got some information on Hamilton for you.
Yep.
They've got some kind of mechanical problem.
Okay. He's leading the race right now. Teammate status.
Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 7.
Oh, he's behind? He's behind?
They're on old mediums. They're in 9th place. Your last lap time was a 1 minute 13.4.
How? Oh, oh yeah, penalty. Idiot. It was Verstappen and Leclerc on the front row, wasn't it? Right, 1.4 to Perez. Alonso is outside DRS now. Let's get him. Cut the corner. Can't have too much of that. Let's go. Driver in front.
Perez ahead. And gap to the car in front is 1.5 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 8 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. And the time last lap was a 1:12.4. Okay, so you're gaining by 1/10 a lap. 0.
0. That's a secret code. And just keep that on the screen for ages. That'll be great. Thank you. 0. Can we have zeros in chat, please? Zeros in chat. It's the new F. Within 1 second to Sergio Perez. DRS active. Fastest lap. Come on. We'll have DRS again here. Not really closing much. Maybe a 10th. Thank you, Gilly fan. Full race update. Oh no, Mark's broken. Are you feeling okay? Six tenths, 5 tenths, come on. Let's get him. Let's get Perez. Will this help? Yes. Full race updates. Come on. Full race update.
Didn't receive that. Repeat the message. Repeat
Oh,
the message.
bite me. Full race update.
Good work. We're in P.
Oh, balls. Full race update.
Fourth position. You're in fourth position.
0.
Perez ahead of you. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on old mediums. Alonso behind you now. Okay, the gap behind is 2.4 seconds. They're on old mediums. Our gap to first place is 5.4 seconds. And that's 6
It's not a
laps
million
till
miles
your
away.
pit window's open. And 26 laps to go now.
0. DRS? No, just outside. Alonso's dropped back by 2 seconds. Potentially overfueled. Still a lot in the tank. Struggling to close up on Perez now. Tyres are dropping off. Can't lean on them quite as much as I once could. Really do need to find a way to stay close to Perez. He's maintaining a 1.4 second gap.
Okay, gap ahead is 1.7 seconds.
This is squeaky bum time. Fastest sector 2. And close the gap to Perez. I think DRS will be active on this lap. There it is.
Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 15.0 seconds.
15.0. Is that 0 again? Got an opportunity to close up even further on the infield. This could be the lap where we start.
Okay, be aware, the grip levels are going to start falling away soon.
I'm aware. We're close enough to Perez now that we can hear the unique engine note of the Red Bull. Very, very close now. DRS. He's not coming into the pits yet. This might be not close enough for a dive into turn 1.
Approaching the pit window now, and you're going to be on hards next time.
He will have DRS in retaliation here. That's fair racing. We go again. Oh, yeah. Where do I want to pick this up from? I need to get through here. That's it. Cleaner drive out of that corner. Okay, not quite so close this time, but we still have DRS. Not close enough for a dive into turn 1 this time.
Okay, the car ahead's beginning to pull away. You know what to do.
A bit of a shocking turn 3. Didn't really help close that gap. It's the infield chase.
We're accumulating somewhere on the MGUK. To manage this, we're going to need to lower our ERS deployment mode.
I have been burning through the battery quite a lot.
Right, we've got a very worn-out MGUK. Our battery charge speed is suffering, and if it gets much worse, we could be forced to retire. In this lap, push now. You're increasing the gap on the car behind by 0.5 a lap.
Lewis is in the pits now.
Okay, Lewis is in for his stop.
Oh, what do we do about tyres? I think we have to bring it in. I think it is the right time. The opportunity to get past Perez in this phase of the race has passed. So we should box. Okay, up the hill. Bit of ERS here. I expect Perez is coming into the pits at the same time and we'll be covering him off. Nope, he's staying out. In we go.
We had an issue attaching the
Oh,
wheel. I
you...
know it's not ideal, but let's try and put that behind us and get back into this
You
race.
rotters. Perez leads. Verstappen and Leclerc have pit on the same lap as I
That was
have.
our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
There's going to be traffic to deal with. And tyres that are not yet at temperature. Battling with signs on exit. Not quite the grip I want yet. I'm going to have to manage it. So we have some other cars around here who are trying to extend their stint on the medium tyres. Some may pit this lap, so let's not be too confident or cocky. Let's see what happens. I'll be able to pick up the DRS from them, even if they come into the pits, it works well for me. Yep, there we go. So they're pitting, that takes me back up to 4th place. Perez pits this lap.
Perez is in the pits.
And I believe we've been able to overcut him. Or is he out? No, he's out and he's ahead.
Behind us is 2.9 seconds.
What does it say who's in the pits then? Get your facts straight. Okay, so we're hunting down that podium position still. Driver in front.
Perez ahead. Our gap to the car in
That's a
front
shame.
is 2.8 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 1.8 seconds.
So this is the story of our race. It's Skip versus Perez. Leclerc and Verstappen too far ahead at this stage. It'll be very difficult to close that gap and pass them. So a podium finish hinges on being able to overtake Sergio
Pace is
Perez
strong, but be aware, these tyres need to go the distance.
and stay ahead of him. What to do? But it's possible. Shame about that pit stop. We could have really done without a hassle like that. If not for that error, maybe we'd be closer to Perez. Maybe we would have pulled out ahead of him after Perez's pit stop. Never mind, we're chasing him down now. We are within a second. So DRS will be active this lap. There it is. And away. Shame, that's a shame. I got close. Could maybe have had a good shot at him at turn 1, if not for running wide onto the grass.
The car behind is dropping back by about 3/10 a lap. Well done.
Whoa. So we don't have to worry about the cars behind, but this race with Perez is everything. Need a good drive out here. That's better, much better. Now he's worried. Perez going defensive. Overshot the corner big time. One more go. Elbows out.
Great manoeuvre. You made it look so easy.
Use this infield to increase the gap. There's very likely now damage to my front wing. Okay, so, third place. Perez 1.1 seconds behind. Charles Leclerc 7.5. And Verstappen not that much further ahead. The question is this now a race where it's all about securing third? Or is there an opportunity to close up to the first two cars? Here's the difference maker, right? I don't see that happening under normal race conditions. We've got 12 laps to do it. It's not impossible. But Leclerc and Verstappen have consistently been the two fastest drivers in the entire season. Catching them one thing, overtaking them clearly another. The thing that may make the difference could still happen. Safety car. And if that happens, all strategy gets thrown out of the window anyway. There's a possibility of making an extra stop, change to soft tyres, finishing out the race on soft tyres. Anything could happen. In the meantime, keep pushing. Try and keep it clean.
The car behind is dropping back by about 3/10 a lap. Well done.
1.3 to Perez. Alonso 7.5 seconds back. Driver in front.
Leclerc ahead, and gap to the car in front is 7.7 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Okay, their tyres are 7 laps old. Time last lap was a 1 minute 11.9. Okay, so you're gaining by 1/10 a lap.
Tyres, man. Bono. Okay, so I've lost the advantage.
Okay, gap
Did not
ahead
keep it
is
clean.
8.8 seconds.
The gap to Leclerc has increased. Perez is now a threat. Things got really slippy there for a while. Look at the closing speed. So we're battling with Perez again. Things got a bit spicy there. So that gap to Leclerc even harder to close. I think we're looking about embedding third place here and nothing else. Considering the qualifying position, considering the outcome from the sprint race, that's quite a realistic thing to accept. Perez still has a chance at catching up on DRS here. Yep, we're not clear of him. Driver behind.
Perez is behind you. Less than a second separates you. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Their tyres are 8 laps old. Your last lap time was a 1:13.5.
He's closing too. Oh, okay, this is going to be...
Car behind's gaining on you by 0.5 a lap.
Oh my god, half a second a lap. He's got me. He's got me. So why is this?
Okay, focus. We need to stay on form.
Is it a problem with a little bit too much damage on the front wing? I mean, there certainly will be damage there. There it is. There it is. So, yes. It's not... I can slow down. That's what we're contending with. That could be... Just that there. That bit of damage there. That's the story, right? That could be the difference maker. Between a podium finish and not a podium finish. Getting a bit too aggressive. It's making things like that happen.
Turbocharger's on its last legs. Let's try to keep mileage on it to a minimum.
So our last race at Yas Marina next week could still be plagued by technical issues. We'll be using some slightly older components for the practice sessions. But we might not have quite the perfect setup next week. Gotta stay within a second to Perez here, it's my only hope. So we're close again.
You're pulling out a second a lap on the car behind. Really good stuff.
Yeah, but what about the car in front? That's the one I need to deal with. Oh, come on now. Need to make this stick. I think I caught him napping. I wasn't expecting that. Need to secure this position. Lap 31 of 36. In the closing stages of this race,
Our gap to the car in front is 10.8 seconds.
there's no way of closing that. It's all about third. Sergio Perez, 1.4 seconds behind, but closing. I need clean and efficient laps ahead. He's already closing the gap, 1 second.
Okay, that's us with 5 laps of fuel remaining. 5 laps of fuel left.
Got all the fuel we need. That was the fastest Sector 2. There's still time that I can make in Sector 2. So that help extends the gap to Perez. That's the kind of area where I can be better than him and hold on to this third place. Stuff like that, though, not so great. Driver behind.
Perez behind. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 1.2 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. They've done 14 laps on those tyres now, and the time last lap was a 1 minute 12.0. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 11.5 seconds.
Not really worried about that though. Okay, 1.6, that will close, but no DRS for more than 1 second, so that's all I need to worry about. Just 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds if I can, kind of gap to Perez is perfect.
Right, we've got enough fuel for 3 more laps.
Good. This just needs to be on rails. 1.8 seconds to Perez. This is good stuff. This is what we need. Okay, not too much of that, please. 1.8 seconds. Verstappen and Leclerc are incredibly close. They're well within a second of each other. They may be swapping positions before this race is out. We'll see how that plays out. But they really have been in a league of their own today. 2 seconds now to Sergio Perez. This is good stuff.
And gap to the car in front is 10.2 seconds. Okay, this is your final lap.
And the fastest lap again. It's all about that sector 2. It's really helping. This car setup has helped a lot. Took a while to dial into it, but it's nailed on. This is it then, final lap. Could have been a P8 start today. That was the result from the sprint race in wet conditions. Very difficult race to navigate. But a lot of drivers took penalties. So a P5 start with Alonso and Perez to deal with. They are not easy cars to overtake. These have been difficult conditions in which to drive, even still. But, yes!
Let me know you're okay.
Oh, perfect. Anyway, as I was saying, it's a difficult race to do this one, but as you can see, absolutely no problems at all, and a podium finish for yours truly.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you've pulled through. Thank you very much.
And with that, another year of Formula One draws to a close and a new World Drivers' Champion is declared. another entry added to that prestigious list of the sport's most incredible drivers. We've witnessed some great battles around the historic curves of Interlagos today, and they've taken a fantastic win. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on track was: speed. I know it sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
It's got to be Lewis Hamilton. I mean, he pulled off some impressive feats out on the track today, even by his standards.
So then, Ferrari have now moved out of sight and out of reach. It's another triumph for the Italian team as they claim the World Constructors' Championship. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
No podium. I don't get to see myself up there on the podium. Charming. Okay. That's your race. That's your race, folks. And that was not easy. By the magic of flashbacks, Skip did finish that race. It was close to a DNF. Actually, I guess I would have technically been overtaken, but I was completed more than 90% of the race, so I would have classified maybe a lap down. But anyway, through the magic of flashbacks, it is a podium finish for Skip and fastest lap, so that's 15 points for finishing third, plus 1 point for fastest lap. And I kept punching those fastest laps throughout the race, and thank goodness I did, because that 1:11.207 was just enough for me to score that extra point. Max Verstappen, your race winner, had a fastest lap of a 1:11.296. It was very close. Very close indeed. In fact, speaking of close, 0.6 seconds over the finish line between Verstappen and Leclerc. Excuse me. So not only have Ferrari secured the Constructors' Championship, but by scoring those points in the sprint and scoring a reasonable amount of points also in the race, Charles did just enough to take the World Drivers' Championship. So for the weekend in total, Max Verstappen takes 31 points, Charles Leclerc 26, Skip 17, Lewis Hamilton 15, Sergio Perez 15. This weekend, Lando Norris took no points. He was out of it in both the sprint and the race. Lando Norris finishing 11th in the race there. So a good race for Skip, ahead of Perez, ahead of Alonso, ahead of Hamilton. Let's take a look at the highlights of the Grand Prix, and we'll pore over the rest of the details after that. Again, a tricky start here, an uphill start. Those things are difficult. No handbrakes on these either. All on the clutch. Get one of those fancy slow-mo starts again. Just about see the Mercedes of Skip there. Car number 58. Loses a position. Drops down to 6th. And is having to chase down Daniel Ricciardo. That was as rude as you like, but in fact, let's just go back there. All on the brakes. The gap's there, the gap's there, the gap's there. Now Daniel Ricciardo is starting to turn. It's a late, shallow turn, but there is a giant gap there. By this point, by the way, as we're just about to hit the apex, Skip is ahead and on the curb. This is the wisdom of the AI of this game. If you were in the cockpit of Ricciardo's McLaren, you're seeing that Mercedes on the inside. You would turn. You would turn. You'd go, what? Whoops. I don't want to have a collision. I will correct my steering angle. Nope. Just straight in. And continues to go straight in. No correction here at all. No correction. No correction. No correction. Turning as if I wasn't there. And I think it's only because at this point there's enough space on the left-hand side that I would even have an opportunity to set myself free as Ricciardo continues to ride the curb. Nuts. And then nothing until lap 13. Where I had passed a couple of cars, and now on the medium tyres, I'm hunting down Sergio Perez. Running a little wide onto the curbs there. Is this the attempt into turn 1? It will be one lap later. I think... Yeah, okay. So at this point, this must be where the damage happens. At this point, that front wing end plate is fine, sir. Big contact. How's it look now? Seems okay. Lap 18, this is on the exit after the slow pit stop. Battling against the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. That's for track position. And then chasing down Perez here on lap 23. This was probably the first attempt at getting past. Maybe this is the point where the damage happens. Shall we see? Nope, damage is already there, I think. Yeah. So there's, before lap 23, something has happened. But look at this. Look at this. I have no right. I have no right to be in there. Perez is ahead. I'm completely off the track. I have no right to be here. I force my way through, but this doesn't stick. Perez catches up. Gets the DRS. And I have no answer to it. He does catch up with me within that lap. And then, there we go. The second half of that race was all about Perez. Race director. Every single car on track, the same strategy. Some made it work better than others. From 5th to 3rd for Skip, from 12th to 6th for Lewis Hamilton. Lando Norris didn't do too bad to get to 11th from 16th. Good one for Mick Schumacher in the Haas there to take 8th. Incidents. Managed to keep my nose clean, so to speak. Lando Norris had a collision with Sainz on lap 1, had a warning for that. And in terms of pit stops, I did not deviate from the plan. So we had a range of drivers stopping on 16. The leaders came in on 17. Perez waited until a lap afterwards. So all pretty standard. To the standings. After the Brazilian Grand Prix race weekend of great madness, Charles Leclerc secures the Drivers' Championship for F1 22, significantly ahead of Max Verstappen, who can no longer catch up. Lewis Hamilton, 3rd, with 270 points. Carlos Sainz, 265. So it was a bit of a big deal for Lewis to take points today and for Carlos not to take points. That's helped Lewis Hamilton have that 3rd position today. 265 points for Carlos Sainz in 4th. There is a race win worth of points between Skip and Carlos Sainz. There is an outside mathematical chance that Skip could finish this season in 4th. It would require a race win or race win and fastest lap, and Carlos Sainz to score barely anything. He would have to finish 9th or 10th or lower. That is in the thinnest margins, at the edges of the realms of possibility. But 5th looks pretty secure there. Sergio Perez, 210, has no chance to catch up. Lando Norris now very far behind in 7th with 204. So Skip comfortably in the top 6 of the drivers' standings right here at the end of the season. A chance for 4th, but 5th is looking very likely. Ferrari already secured the Constructors' Championship last time out. Red Bull very comfortable there in 2nd. And Mercedes also very comfortable in 3rd. A massive chasm between Mercedes in 3rd and McLaren in 4th, and in fact the rest of the teams as well. So good work for Mercedes up there in the top 3, both of their drivers in the top 6. I think really that's the best you can do, considering the shape of the F1 22 season. And that is everything. That is your Brazilian Grand Prix weekend. Round 21 is complete. And we're back in team headquarters, and there is a prediction on which to pay out. We had people gambling on a win, on a podium finish. That's positions 2 or 3. And also positions 6 to 10. The outcome, 3rd place, that is in your podium category. We shall pay that out now. So congratulations then to Dave, who's done very well on the gambles today. And Rich T. Rue as well. Dave put down 3,500 and wins 4,495 in return. Rich T. Rue put a little bit down, 230, and gets 295 back. Unfortunately, Giddy Fam, who put down 1,000 on the race win, did not fare well today. And Hippie Dave put down 60 on positions 6 to 10. A bold move, a very bold move, but they lost out, but they didn't lose too much. So that's not too bad. So once again, Mary Dave, congratulations. A very successful Sunday's worth of gambling for you. So, here we go. 1 race left. Let's survey the damage, so to speak, check the messages, and wrap up events. Performance update from Francisco. You can see Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull so close now. So close. Mercedes technically 3rd, but really all it would take would be for one of them to have a very forceful fart, and that would make their car just faster than the others. 3,318 resource points available. We should be looking to spend these on further chassis updates here. There are several parts at risk. Crankshaft failed. Oh well, never mind. So its fuel tank positioning is the first recommended one. We've got quite a few other ones here that are at risk. Engine cover, the store cells, central under tray here. These all come at a discount, so let's start spending. Fuel tank positioning. Let's adapt. 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? The chassis team, that's who. Next recommended update is the cable assembly. I'll take those recommendations. That is another one to be secured by season's end, 2,210. The central under tray, I agree. It's a pretty critical one to adapt. Next, suspension geometry. I would say suspension and tyre blankets would be a good move here. So let's take suspension geometry, 1,360. Left, what's next? I thought so. I thought it would be the tyre blankets. There we go. 814 points left to spend. What's recommended next? Improved energy store cells. Boom. Let's get that done. 191 left. We will not be able to spend any more. That's fine. There are only 3 parts left at risk. The improved energy store cells, the engine cover, and the energy store cells positioning. Those are the ones. They could probably all get protected before the season is complete. Morale across the piece is normal. There's your progress history. A 3rd in Mexico, a 3rd in Brazil. Podium finishes very strong, not a race win, which is a shame. But there have been, let's count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 race wins this season. That's a quarter. That's that. In fact, that's just over a quarter of the season, with Skip on the top step. Excuse me. And considering how difficult the opening stages of this season was, scrapping for points in Saudi Arabia and in Miami, struggling down the order in Bahrain, having a nightmare on Australia, big technical issues in Imola. A race to forget in Monaco. It took really until the European sequence for things to start turning around. More significant points in Barcelona. There were more points on offer in Baku, but the last couple of laps really fell apart. Lucky to kind of scrape 2 championship points from that. But then an excellent run. Canada, Great Britain, Austria, and France. France! Hungary was an outlier. It was one of the first major penalties that we took, which made that a little bit difficult. Spa was fantastic. Surprised to get a podium finish at Zandvoort. Monza was a tricky one. When we hit the Monza, Singapore, Japan area, even beyond that, to be honest, we're now starting to talk about taking penalties and not necessarily being able to start as far forward on the grid as we would have qualified. So all things considered, from Canada on, that car has been solid, and it's been circumstances that have caused us to fall back at times. As Mary Dave says, not a bad season. I'd have to agree. Frustrating start. I almost quit. But things have really pulled back. However, we go into the last race of the season with a sick car. The ICE at 60% wear, MGUK at 57, MGUH at 61, energy store's okay, turbocharger we were getting warnings about during that race, 63%. We'll be doing some practice and stuff on some older things here. Gearbox is fine. We don't have to worry about the gearbox or the energy store or the control electronics at all, but the other components we may need to just play around with in the practice sessions. So when we put all the green ones back on for qualifying in the race, we have our best shot at a good finish.
Okay, we've had the new parts come through the fabrication process. We'll have them with us for the next Grand Prix.
If you say so. So, aero department requires my attendance. Let's take care of that. Hey, how about that? That decision to pass on my apologies to Aero and to go to that charity event has paid off. 1,000 extra driver acclaim points. Well worth it. And there we go. That's locked in for you, folks. That is the beginning of our final race weekend, round 22. The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix will start with the Pirelli Hot Lap, and the choice between Drift and Rival Duel. I have to spend a whole week thinking about exactly how I want to play that. Maybe I'll put it to a poll. Maybe you get to decide. You decide! Live on stream next week. Will it be Drift or Rival Duel in the Pirelli Hot Lap? Maybe remind me. I may forget within the week. We'll make that your choice. That then, another thrilling evening. And a lot shorter than normal. See what happens when I'm on a circuit I know particularly well. I get through it all a bit quicker. Almost an hour shorter this week than last. Disappointing qualifying, which made things a little bit tricky in terms of making the most of terrible conditions in the sprint race. But a little nudge forward, and then before you know it, you're starting 5th and you're finishing 3rd and you're on the podium. That'll do. Next week, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the final round of the F1 22 season, and we bring this whole adventure to a close. It's been emotional, folks, but it'll be good to see the story end. Skip, currently 5th, a secure 5th in the World Drivers' Championship. Those standings are not fully secured, but they're pretty much close to it. And as I said earlier, I think a top 6 end to the season and top 3 for the team is excellent. You considering where Red Bull and Ferrari are in terms of their performance this year, you couldn't really get better than that. So next week will be about taking care of the car, getting it in the best condition possible for the race, guiding it at home, hoping for a good result, and closing Skip's story for F1 22. That will be next Sunday from 5:30 p.m. UK time. It will be the full race weekend, the 3 practice sessions, the one-shot qualifying, and the 50% distance race to close. So come and join me for that. We'll do the whole race weekend in an evening, and we will send F1 22 off. Next Sunday, 5:30 p.m. UK time. Just flipping be